It was like watching a baby giraffe learn how to walk.
Exactly. But if the baby giraffe was like naked and had boobs.
Where are the quiet gays? Where are the quiet gays supposed to go?
This one really unhinged me. The L word unhinged me to my ultimate core. I was uncomfortable. I had to walk away multiple times.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
You know that thing when you're uncomfortable and you have to squirm out of your body and then let the soul free out of the chains of your body, and your whole body starts to itch and you're like,
yeah,
that's what happened to me.
Okay, I can't wait to hear. How many times did that happen so we can make sure we hit them?
I think 3, maybe.
Okay, I can pinpoint 2 for sure. So the third one will be a mystery to me. Okay, well, welcome back, everyone, to Lesbian Book Club podcast. We are covering the L Word, season 1, episode 11, which you've already heard Haylie is not okay after it. And I had so many funny thoughts because I think part of the cringy parts are going to be definitely like Dana and Jenny. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was such a quintessential, like, not that I've experienced, but definitely like a lot of my friends where you like, they try and like, they mistake friendship for romance. And then they like have like one night where they're like, oh no, maybe we'll like try it. And then they're like, maybe we should just be friends.
Which, as a lesbian, can be confusing.
Sure.
Because sometimes it can be hard to decipher, like, oh, why do I feel a sort of attraction to this person? And like, is it an attraction like I'm actually attracted to them, or is it a friendship attraction? Like, I think this is a cool person.
Right.
And I don't even think that Dana and Jenny had any of that. I think that they just, for whatever reason, ended up at this bar together and then felt like the next reasonable step was to go home together, and it just wasn't.
I think they were both just like horny, and they were like, well, you're here and we kind of know each other and we're both gay, and like, yeah, it is like the next step. Let's do it. But then like they're both bottoms. So watching them try to figure out who was supposed to be where and what to do, they were like, oh, wait, I was going to lay on my back. Wait, hold on.
The way that Jenny just laid down and waited for something to happen to her, I was like,
I know, I hated that.
Oh.
That was very heteronormative of her to do. Like, if you think about it, it's like, but also I'm like, but you were with Marina and I don't feel like it was like that. So why would you do this with Dana?
Yeah. And then the like straight arm boob grab, I was like,
that was definitely cringe. It was just like, Jenny just like took her shirt off and then they're just like, boop, let's just, okay.
Yeah, it was like watching a baby giraffe learn how to walk.
Exactly. But if the baby giraffe was like naked and had boobs.
Yeah.
It was really uncomfortable. Okay, but let's rewind because we kind of just jumped there. Because yeah, other than that, with Dana, her whole storyline this episode was she got a cool haircut. Which I was like, I mean, it looks cute, but it's not like, but I think it was like, you know, early 2000s that like shaggy layered look was in.
Chunky
and I love
highlights.
Yeah. And I loved how Shane was like, I think we should just chop it all off. And Alice goes, I don't think she's ready to be like a bull dyke yet. And I was like, a bull dyke? Like, that's so interesting. Like, it brought me back to, what was it? Like Stone Butch Blues, Telegraph Club, Craze. Yeah. I was like, oh, look at these terms. Like, we still use them, you know? And it was kind of cool to be like, oh, hey, I know that one.
Well, and then they go into the club, Dana and Jenny, that Jenny goes, this is a very 1950s butch and femme.
Which it was. And I was also like, oh, this is very Craze as well. Like, because it was very like gender rolled.
It was.
Which is weird because, well, it's not weird. Don't get me wrong. It's not weird. But like existing in the culture today where it's very like, it could be whatever. It's not very gender normal It's not like a man, a woman in a woman relationship. It's like very clearly two women. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think Dana said, yeah, this place hasn't like progressed past 1950.
The way that Jenny walked in and acted like she didn't know Dana, I was like, you have been around this girl. What is going on here? Dana, right? No, shut up, Jenny.
That was weird.
What is happening right now?
So watching it this time, I thought maybe that was like a script issue. Like, were there new writers for this episode or something like that? Because I was like, that's really weird. They've interacted a bunch of times, and maybe this is like, you know how sometimes with scripts, and I'm making this up because I don't know anything about them, like if you write like a bunch of them and then you like the pilot happens and you realize that certain characters are actually going to be bigger characters than they are, so they go back and rewrite stuff, but then they don't fix stuff on the back end. Do you know what I'm saying? Like sure, with Grey's Anatomy, Alex Karev wasn't in the pilot episode, but then they needed and then they put him into it later. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. But there's also on set, usually on TV, there's a writer on set that makes sure that there's not any weird issues like that. And there's a script supervisor. And the script supervisor is like for continuity issues.
Okay.
And making sure that, shot to shot, everything is right and keeping track of what we have shot and what we haven't. And, but like between the script supervisor and the writer on set, they should have caught something like that, I feel like. So at least two people weren't doing their job. And also I feel like Dana and Jenny, the actors, should have been like, yo,
hello,
what's up with this line?
Yeah, I thought that was really weird too. I was like, I had to like think back and be like, no, they've interacted like a bunch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was weird.
Very odd.
Do you think it was because of her new haircut?
Maybe. I did have that thought, like maybe it was so shocking to her that she didn't recognize her. But I'm like, if she doesn't recognize Dana because she got some like face framing layers and chunky highlights, then this girl really needs help with learning like
facial recognition.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. That was really strange to me, but whatever, we'll overlook it. It's like 2001. It's fine. Maybe they didn't have script supervisors then. You're like, no, they did.
But then when they get to Jenny's and they're trying to make conversation too, like even before the ripping off of Jenny's shirt.
Yeah. I'm
like, how painful is this? Why did they even progress to the next thing? Why didn't they just call it a day?
Because I think they were horny. I really think that was the motivation. And they're like, well, if we can make it work, at least we'll both like get off. You know what I mean? I really think that was why. Because there's no chemistry there.
None.
There's nothing there that would suggest that this is anything more than like a hookup situation.
Yeah, I mean,
it was bad.
Bad, really bad. So bad. Like she's like, so you're a tennis player? What's that like? And then Dana is like, oh, I train a lot. Oh, that's really interesting.
I really feel like Jenny was trying to be like was trying to flirt like a girl flirts with a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The whole like scene like reeked of like Jenny going like just trying to be desirable. But the only way she knows how to really do that is with men.
Yeah, true.
And it was so cringy because you're like, this is not a man, first of all. And it's Dana. Like, come on. Yep. So yeah, and so they try and hook up and they're just like, no, they're like bonking heads, like weird, like can't get into any type of position. They're both like doing opposite things. It was a nightmare. I think I would have cried from like how bad that was if that was me in that situation.
They spilled juice in the bed and Dana's like, oh my gosh, let me take this to dry cleaning. And Jenny goes, oh no, there's worse things in here for sure.
Ew.
And you see Dana sit up and get this look on her face like, oh my God, what is in this? If somebody said that, I'd be out.
I'd be like, no.
Around.
No.
Not.
No, really gross. And then they like laid on the juice.
Yes. Do you know how sticky that would be? That's my nightmare.
That's a nightmare. That's disgusting. Yeah, no. But we should talk more about Jenny, because other than trying to hook up with Dana, Jenny had quite another interaction in this episode.
Jenny looks like she just walked straight out of the psych ward. She has no shoes on. Her hair is like unbrushed.
With like the sticking part, like alfalfa out. Like she's woken up from her shed to Tim and what's her face? What's her name?
His athlete.
Yes, the one who luckily at least she's in college. Like in the pool, like like hitting a ball back, and she's like, dude, he's gonna get in so much trouble because he's like dating a student now. Yeah, and she is like creepily standing on the other side of the house, just spying on them. And Trish, I think is her name. Trish, yes. Catches her, and she makes up this unbelievable story about how she's going to the store to get toast, but she forgot her wallet and her keys. And she walks back, and the girl is looking at her like, yeah, right, because she was spying on them, and she has no shoes and looks wild. She has wild look in her eye. Right, exactly. Like you were clearly spying. Yeah, like when you wind up a cat. Yeah, that look in there. That's the look she had in her eye. And, I mean, Jenny just unhinged to the nth degree. And Jenny's like me when I get caught. If I get caught doing something, I literally am like, okay, I'll tell you a story. So I went to sushi with someone, and I was like, so they went to the bathroom, and I was like, I'm going to record them when they come out, because I really like their outfit. I'm like, they look really good. They look really good right now. So I'm going to record them when they come out. And I think I'm being like really sly. Right. Yeah. Right. So I like record them while they come out. I like put my phone away, whatever. Like 10 minutes later, we're sitting there, and she looks at me and she goes, so let me see that video you took of me coming out. I was like, Jenny, I was like, I need to get some toast. I forgot my wallet. I literally was like so caught, and I was like, I thought I was really sneaky. And she was like, no, let me see it. And I was like, okay. You would have had to carry my body out of that restaurant. I felt, so we were sitting outside, like on not a bench, but like we were just sitting on like a seat thing. Anyway, I wanted to like literally turn into a snake or like a worm and like slide slowly down and out of frame. I was also a little turned on. Because I was like, ooh, God, okay. Oh my God. But that's what it reminded me of when Trish walked out. Haley's feeling the cringe that happened inside of my soul right now. I am. And you know what it reminds me of is when my girlfriend on our very first date turned to me and was like, scared. So are you like romantically interested in me? Oh my God, I could see her doing that. Yeah. And I was like, because that's my worst nightmare, first of all. Yeah. To ask me that on a first date. And what did you tell the story that I buffered in real life for like 20 seconds. I completely froze. And I was like, well, yeah, but if you don't want to, that's okay. And I'm completely fine with being friends. Like, we can just be friends and hang out, and this can just be have a hangout. That's completely fine if you want that. And then she just laughed and said nothing else. Oh my God. And I was like, okay, I guess that's fine. Yikes. Yeah. I would have freaked out like you, and I would have probably said the exact same thing, but then I would have turned it. This is where, Haley, you need to learn. You got to turn it on them and say, are you romantically interested in me? You gotta get it. But also,
I was scared of the answer.
I know. Well, you know what? When you were describing it reminded me of the TikTok. You know the TikTok like trend that's going around where it's like, and then I go and ruin it all by saying something stupid like, no worries if not. No worries if not, though. No worries if not. I literally, that's me half the time. I'm always like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Internally, I'm like, that anxiety character from Inside Out is like, ah!
Yeah, but please catch my vibe that that's not true.
Yeah. It's like when you say, do whatever you want. Uh-huh. And under no circumstances should you do whatever you want. If I ever say, do whatever you want, go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
You could do it, but there'll be consequences. But do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll be secretly seething.
Exactly. Okay, so anyway, Jenny's caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and the cookie jar is fine on Tim.
Yeah.
Do you think, so she catches them twice, or doesn't catch them twice. She finds out about it the first time where she's looking like coming out of the psych ward.
Yeah.
Then the second time she sees them in the pool playing with the ball or whatnot. And she literally calls Tim from her shed and is like, you're going to be in so much trouble. What if your assistant coach finds out? Now, my question for you in this scene, what is Jenny's motivation? Is it actual concern for Tim, or is it like a jealous ex-girlfriend thing?
I think that from the root, it's jealousy, but she believes that it is actual concern.
She thinks she's altruistic, but I don't think Jenny has an altruistic bone in her body.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think the root is jealousy, but she's convinced herself that it's for good. Okay. I like that take. I was kind of trying to give Jenny the benefit of the doubt to be like, maybe she is like actually concerned. But the problem with that thinking, I think, is that Jenny was kind of concerned about Trish when they were together. Remember? Or like we knew that Tim had like a thing for Trish. So it's almost like when I haven't had this like happen to me, but like, you know, with like, oh God, is it Olivia Rodrigo or Sabrina Carpenter song? I don't know. But when you break up with someone and they then immediately get together with someone that you were kind of concerned about.
Yep.
That's what it felt like for Jenny. And I was like, that sucks.
That's happened to me twice.
Oh, Haylie. That's never happened to me, but I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
When it's a pattern, what does that mean?
I don't know anymore. Yeah. You know what, though? That has more to do with them than it does with you.
That's right.
That's what I convince myself of everything. I always say, you know, this has actually nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with them and what they're going through and what they're feeling. It says nothing about me as a person.
That's true, though.
It is because
reflect on themselves.
Exactly. And the way you treat people has a lot more to say about yourself than it does about who you're treating poorly.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that the person who is being treated poorly should just sit there and take it. Like, you can understand where someone's coming from and why they act the way they do, but that doesn't mean you have to condone their actions.
Right.
Okay, I'll hop off my soapbox on that one. But again, we see Tim get aggressive. Like, he comes to Jenny's shed and is like kind of like pushes through the door. Like, he's very in her like personal space and like upset. And I just hate that vibe. I don't like it.
That's interesting because I didn't even notice that. And I feel
Really?
like that has happened last time too. Not obviously, not when he got super aggressive with Marina, but I can't remember what episode it was. But there was another time that you caught that he was like being aggressive with Jenny, and I didn't even register it.
I am very sensitive to male aggression. I feel like it's always like an undertone of interactions with men and women. Not always, obviously, but there is just that, like, my lip's bleeding.
Oh.
Whoopsie. It's okay. There is, to me, just kind of like an air in the culture of like male aggression. And, you know, I grew up and my dad was kind of like a yeller, very like aggressive. He wasn't like abusive or anything, but just like a lot of aggression. And I'm very sensitive to it from that. And yeah, I pick up on it. And I mean, I think this was an easy one to pick up on, but I don't like fault you for not seeing it because you're a dialogue girl. So I'm sure you were just like listening to every single word. But yeah, he pushed the door open and like stepped in, and she like, you could see in her reaction that she was she was probably afraid, just like startling. But yeah, and then he's just like, he's so like in her personal space, and I'm just not here for it. I don't like Tim. I don't like Jenny either. But my dislike of Jenny doesn't mean that I want to see her have aggression taken out on her. You know what I mean?
Right. I totally get that. Yeah. I guess there's also probably a piece of this where like she said how she wanted to have the conversation, which was over the phone, and he came to her place of residence, which is only a couple of feet away, but it's her space.
Right.
And sort of invaded that. So yeah, that could be definitely uncomfortable and scary for her.
Yeah. Do you think she's going to actually follow through and tell the assistant coach what's going on?
I think she just might.
She's just crazy enough to maybe do that. Yeah. I can't remember what happened, so we'll just have to wait and see. I'm scared though. I'm just always scared for Jenny's storyline. I'm always like, where is this cuckoo girl going to go? Which if we make it through every single season of the L Word, we'll have to circle back to this episode, and we're going to be like, okay, we went from this to this, and I can't wait for you to see it.
You know what? In this episode, I realized I had a past prediction that I was correct.
Oh, what was it?
Of predictions. Last episode, you asked me what I thought was going to happen with Shane and Sherry Jaffe, and I said that I think maybe she's going to like help her get her own salon or something like that. And what do you know?
I knew that prediction. I knew that prediction was right, and I was like, I can't say anything.
You did such a good job having a poker
Thank you.
face.
Thank you. That's the one time in my life I could do it. Yes. Okay. So Shane, this is an interesting little plot line going on because the husband of Sherry Jaffe is like an investor, and he like is super wealthy, and he does two things in this episode. One, he wants to invest in Shane and like start this business because his wife's been raving, and Shane made his wife look hot, blah, blah, blah. The second thing he does is get Shane to hang out with their like, how old is she? 18-year-old daughter? 17-year-old daughter? 19? She's young.
She's young.
I don't think she's... I was thinking high school, but I really didn't want to think that she was underage.
I fear that she probably is.
But yeah, and I'm like, but 17, but I'm still like underage.
Oh, wait. Actually, I think she's going to go into college, so maybe she is 18.
Okay. Not that that's like really my moral line is like 17 and 18. Right. It's really not. But at least it's not, underage. And what, Shane's 23? Still shouldn't have anything to do with an 18-year-old, but we'll get there. So these two meet up. Shane's like, I guess I have to, like, I really am kind of beholden to these people, and I have to do what they say because they're going to give me a salon. And we'll talk about that, but I want to talk about the daughter.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like,
well, you could see it
sideways.
Yeah. And you could see it in Shane's reaction when she was kind of like, okay, like, I guess I have to do this. So they hang out, and I guess the dad is like, what does the dad want Shane to convince this girl of that she's just meeting for the first time?
To go to Paris for a mother-daughter trip with Sherry.
Right. But what ends up happening is the daughter ends up disclosing to Shane that she's gay. And Shane's just like, I don't know what the hell I got myself into on this.
Yeah.
And she's also fucking her mom.
Yeah.
And now it seems like the daughter kind of likes Shane.
Yeah, more than seems like, because the daughter tries to kiss her and is making bedroom eyes at her while asking her about her parents and how she grew up with no parents and all this stuff. And Shane is like, oh, but also Shane really messed up at the beginning there when they were mini golfing, because Shane was like, oh, can I show you something? And did the classic man move and came out of the back to like show this girl how to do the swing, whatever. And the face Lauren just made me.
I'm sorry, I can't. It's so bad. That move would work on me, though. It would work on me. So I can't say that it was bad.
And then put her hand on, I think the girl's name is Clea.
Yes, I think you're right.
Put her hand on Clea's hip. And immediately I'm like, oh, Shane, why did you do that? Because even though that's just kind of Shane, like Shane is not necessarily, I don't think, hot take, coming on to Clea or trying to be flirty when she does that. That's just who she is and the way that she like interacts with people on a normal basis, and she doesn't think anything of that, in my opinion. But every other normal person doesn't do that, and will read into that if somebody comes around the back of them and puts their hand on their hip. It's like, oh, let me show you how to do this. So I especially for thinking that.
Yeah, especially an 18-year-old girl.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a clear sign.
Right. And there's this like older, really cool woman who just is taking time out of her day to spend time with you and talk to you. Yeah. What are you going to think?
What are you supposed to think?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Shane did mess up, but Shane constantly messes up. But yeah, so they're like sitting under this tree, and Clea's like, I think my parents know I'm gay. And Shane is like not equipped to handle the situation at all. And yeah, Clea tries to kiss her, and Shane's like, no, like we can't do this. Obviously isn't like because I'm with your mom. But yeah, let's talk about the salon that her mom is going to give to Shane.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, but somebody just gives you something like that, there's strings attached.
Exactly.
So, and the big part of this too is that there's a lot of secrets going on here, and they're high stakes secrets. And this conversation that happened at the Planet between Sherry and Shane, when Shane was like, listen, we've got to talk. I can't, if I'm going to be conducting business with you and your husband, I can't be involved in your marriage. And then Sherry was like, oh, well, that would be really bad if you're breaking up with me. Don't you like having sex with me, Shane? And that felt like a threat.
It was totally a threat. It's absolutely a threat. And I think so. The thing is about Rosanna Arquette and all the characters she plays, she's very much like a minx, very like manipulative, very like she plays that character, almost villainess, like in trope wise, I guess. Like she always plays this kind of character, this very like soft, demure, but like scorpion type character, which is why I love her. So yeah, it was absolutely a threat. She was like, you stop having sex with me and you're not going to get your studio.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But what would you do in that situation?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in that situation.
Okay, but say you get stuck there. Like, what do you even do?
You know, my anxiety, I don't think could handle it. Because I would be, my biggest fear would be getting caught by the husband. Because I would be probably like down to like, if I'm going to get a studio, kind of like sugar mama the studio out of someone. Like, sure, like you got to do what you got to do in this capitalistic hellscape that we live in. But my anxiety would be petrified of getting caught. So I'd probably go for it, but I would not be, my mental health would suffer. That's probably, what about you?
I mean, I think that I would have to, I think I would have to, like, no matter the consequences tell her like, no, I can't do that. But here's the thing.
Do you really think you'd be able to do that? If it was like dream casting role, like Katniss Hunger Games role, you really think you would be like, no?
If
it was someone she enjoys hooking up with her.
Right. But like,
I mean, my morality would say don't do it, but like down, you know.
Maybe I'd tell her like, you have to be honest with your husband, and then like you have to come clean, and then whatever the consequences are. I don't know. I think first of all, I wouldn't be able to do a good job.
She's buffering in real time right now, guys.
I am. I'm stressed out over this.
I know, I could tell.
I'm sweating a little.
Hypothetical. It's hypothetical.
I don't think I'd be able to do a good job, or like my conscience would be I'd be a mess.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't know, but okay, Shane is in such a pickle here because say that the husband finds out and like this whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
The way that Shane, and this is why Shane shouldn't have done shady things from the very beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
The way that Shane has been able to build herself up in her business instead of just like going off of doing a good job, which takes longer.
Right.
She took the shortcut, in Chutes and Ladders.
Yeah, but
that game works, whatever.
But there's always shortcuts. Like in the real world, yeah, you could say like do the hard work and pull yourself up by your bootstraps and stuff, but like that's not really how the world works. The world works through networking and opportunities, and that's exactly what this is.
Right, but there's ways to do the networking and opportunities without like doing shady stuff. And she did the shady stuff. And now if somebody finds out about the shady stuff, then all of it comes crashing down, and all of that gets taken away. She's knocked back down to like underneath where she already started.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They do that to women anyway. Even if they do work hard, they're still going to say, oh, you slept your way to the top. Like, it doesn't matter whether you do it or you don't do it. You're going to get accused of it anyway. Might as well like actually do it. I mean, I'm not advocating for that, of course, but I'm just saying like, women are accused of that anyway, even if they do work hard.
They are.
So it's like, I don't know. And I get you. My moral compass is like very straight and narrow. So in real life, like that's why I started off by saying I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. Mm-hmm. But like if I was presented with it, I mean, like maybe. It's hypothetical. Why not say yes?
I'm stressed out for her.
Yeah, this is going to be a stressful little storyline that we have going on for the first season for sure. Ooh, it gets juicy.
Francesca was a raging bitch to Marina.
She's the worst. Episode. Talk about like gender roles and how they're really setting some of these queer female relationships up like very gendered boy-girl relationships. Mm-hmm. Like they're making one woman the man, the stereotypical man, and one the stereotypical woman. And I think that's why Francesca comes off like such a fucking asshole. Because she's literally like, she takes this job and Marina is like, I wish you would have discussed it with me first. Like, I really wanted to spend time with you, which she just came back from another job. I don't feel like Marina's wrong to say that. And she's like, well, honey, I hope you know how much debt you're in, and I want you to have your little dream. So that means I have to work. I just want to take care of you. And now lay down and let me fuck you. I was like, this is the worst interaction I have ever seen between two women.
Yeah. And while Marina's like laying there, clearly not wanting to be having sex with Francesca.
No.
Francesca keeps making these like mean comments to her, and then she says something about like, oh, and while I'm gone, you can have your little thing with Jenny. And Marina is like, what the actual fuck? Because first of all, Francesca ruined the thing with Jenny.
Oh yeah.
She
knows that though.
Yeah, and that's why she said it. And I was thinking about this, and tell me if you agree. But Okay. My thought has developed about the way that their relationship works.
Oh, okay.
Since the last time we talked. So this maybe took up too much of my mind space. So the agreement that they have is that they are in a committed long-term partnership, but they spend a lot of time apart, and when they are apart, they can do their own thing and be with other people, right?
Right.
But it seems to be kind of an unsaid expectation that nobody gets to be as important to each other as the other one.
Right. You always come back to me.
Yeah, exactly. But for Francesca, she is jet setting all over the world, has a fresh new pool of these like really cool, talented people all the time who it's the movies. They're all probably, you know, they're fairly attractive to a certain rate. Not all of them, but I mean, she has the actors that she's working close with, which is who we saw her be with last time.
Right.
And so she has prospects, is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's exciting for her every time. Mm-hmm. Marina is left at home every time.
Right.
And she doesn't have a new group of people. Who she has is who she has. She has a community that she has built and maintained while Francesca goes away and does whatever Francesca does. So when Francesca comes home and doesn't like what she sees and destroys what Marina has because she is upset by it, that is destructive to Marina's life.
Right.
So I understand and I sympathize with Francesca being upset that Jenny seemed to be important to Marina.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am not liking since the last time we talked is the way that she came in and completely destroyed the relationship that Marina and Jenny had. And Marina and Jenny each had their own guilt there, but Francesca kind of like dropped the final bomb on it, so to speak. And there's no recovering that. I mean,
no, we can't fix it.
Like from where we stand right now, it doesn't look like there's any recovering that.
Yeah.
And Marina's the one that suffers, not Francesca. And Francesca, I think, takes some joy in that. She feels smug and happy, and she gets to go off and have her fun, and she knows that Marina is sitting back home sad and alone, and she gets satisfaction out of that. And
absolutely,
that's not the agreement they had.
Right. No, I think that was a really good, succinct development of thought about their relationship. Haylie, good job. No, it's true. It was really good because you're right. Like, she's jet setting around the world, new pool of people, and Marina has her friend group. She does have like just her friend group. So it is very disruptive when Francesca comes back and is like, absolutely not. Like, you can't, I'm going to really be a bitch to this person, point out all the little things that like I think are wrong. And like, yeah, it was, and then invite her to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. Francesca sucks.
Yeah. She also just comes in and starts micromanaging everything that Marina does, humiliates her in front of her friends at the planet. Like, this is Marina's successful business that she runs. It's constantly full. Are you kidding me? There's always people in the planet. They have all of these parties. It's busy all the time. And Francesca comes in front of Marina's friends, starts micromanaging how she's running it, humiliates her, tells them to leave, just is horrible. And then she makes some sort of snide remark at the very end of that conversation between just like two of them once the friends have left. Yeah. That gives you some sort of clues. There's something between them that Francesca thinks that she saved Marina from something. And we don't know what that is yet. But I feel like Marina is in this relationship maybe because she feels like she's indebted to Francesca in some sort of way.
Well, I think Francesca put up the money for the planet.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's like the vibe I was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that relationship unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for you to see that. So another storyline is Alice, and Alice has been dating this guy. Is it the guy that she stole from Dana?
Yeah, it's both. Well, I think that he's gone ever since Lisa showed up.
Okay.
But it seems like they had sex.
Yeah, like 5 times or something is what Alice said. And Alice is like, I'm late on my period. And I thought this was such a convoluted storyline because so Alice is like, I'm late. It would probably be Lisa's. It wouldn't be this guy's. And, you know, Bette and Tina had their miscarriage the last episode. Mm-hmm. And Shane's kind of like, you could just give the baby to Bette and Tina and then everything would be okay. And I was like,
so insane.
That's so, like, I understand the reason. She was like, look, we can like reimagine how families are and we can all be the parents and blah, 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 which I'm like, idealistically, that's really cute, Shane, but that's not how this works. Like, you can't just lose a baby and be like, look, here's another one. Let's replace it. Like, there's a grief process that needs to go through. You have to like plan that if you're going to do a surrogate. You're not just like, oh, my friend's pregnant, let me just take that one. Like, it doesn't work like that. You know, I thought that was very naive for Shane to propose.
Yeah. And then they're all keeping this secret. They're going to surprise Bette and Tina with a baby. And it's like, you surprise someone with flowers. You don't surprise them with a live human.
With a baby. Because now they're going to be like, well, shit, there's this baby coming. And like, what do we even do? Like, it's like a problem that they did not ask for.
Just crazy. And all the fact that nobody at that table raises one single concern.
Yeah. Whatever.
Are we all unhinged here? Yes.
They're all single women in their 20s trying to figure out life and going through the whole, like, maybe this is what we do. Oh, maybe this is what we do. And all of it is like literally crazy.
Just, yeah. And then Francesca decides to put in her 2 cents. And I'm like, you're not part of this.
Yeah. Stay out of this, woman. You're not part of our friend group. You don't know the intricacies of what's going on. But I did think about Bette and Tina when Alice was like, oh, I'm pregnant, because, you know, that would be really hard. I remember okay, you know, it's really funny. It's not funny, but it is funny. So I think I've talked about this on the podcast, but I've had 3 miscarriages. And let me tell you, why did Kim Kardashian have to get pregnant after each one of my miscarriages?
Are you serious?
I'm so fucking serious. It was so annoying because I was like, because I think when you're like in grief situations, you want to look to put, you know, you go through anger, you go through, you know, all those stages, and you need somewhere to put it. And mine went to Kim Kardashian. I was so mad. I was like, why her? How come she can have a baby and I can't? Like, you know what I mean? And it was after every single one. And I was just like, this is the worst. It was so annoying. But I can only imagine how Bette and Tina would feel seeing Alice just accidentally get pregnant when they have to try so hard. Yeah. Another thing it reminds me of is, for all of our Gentleman Jack listeners, is when like Ann Lister really wants to marry Ann Walker, and like it's the 1800s, like she can't, right? And she has to like jump through all these hoops to even like get them to be together and this whole thing. And then one of her servants just finds this girl, one of this other servants, hot, and the servant has pregnant. So he's like, I'll marry her. And he has to like go to Ann Lister to get permission because like it's like serfdom, right? And she is just like, you can tell that she's just kind of pissed. Like, it's not fair that this is just so easy, but for me it's so hard. And I feel like that's what Bette and Tina are gonna feel if this is just sprung on them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think Alice is pregnant? Do you think it will be presented to Bette and Tina?
I don't think Alice is pregnant, but I do think that they're going to tell Bette and Tina.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That would be like worst case scenario.
I know. And TV plays the worst case scenario.
Yeah, exactly. It's why your predictions probably always will come true. Okay, but so now we have like our overarching storyline of the season. Like Bette and Tina really are like the main characters, especially in this first season. And so Bette and Tina are going through the grief of losing their baby, but Bette has this whole other thing going on, which is the CAC provocations, Fae Buckley, the Christian right, like all of this is going on. And Bette has decided that she wants to have a debate with Fae Buckley.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, like Fae Buckley is really good in like the public arena. She plays dirty. Don't do it. Blah, blah, blah. And the thing that ends up, we have our opening scene. We always have our opening scene in the L Word, and it always connects back. And it looks like these two underage girls on a porn set. Yeah. Like these girls look 15, 16 years old. They're playing like schoolgirls. Clearly the actresses are not, because that one actress clearly had a very bad boob job, which I was like, okay, at least you're over 18 for reals in real life. But they were very much playing it like high school girls, which was so uncomfortable to watch. And I remember this scene from when I watched it before, and I was just like, oh, this is the grossest scene. But what ends up happening is the girl, one of the girls from that porn video, is Fae Buckley's daughter, who ran away because her dad, assuming Fae Buckley's husband, like abused her. And they said that Faye either couldn't stop it or turned a blind eye to it, which, knowing what I know about that culture, probably just turned a blind eye to it. Because sometimes in their rationale, their cognitive dissonance, it's easier to pretend it's not happening than to deal with the repercussions of it happening. So her daughter ran away, and like a lot of young runaway girls, like turned to prostitution, turned to porn, because at least they can make some money. But obviously it goes very downhill. So Bette, what I really liked about this episode was Bette and Fae Buckley's debate. It filtered through everyone's storyline. Like when Francesca and Marina were having their like terrible conversation, the debate was on in the background. Mm-hmm. And like Alice and Dana were watching it, I think. Like everyone was watching this debate happen during their storylines. And I liked how that like weaved in all together. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to tell us about like how they acquired the tape and everything?
Yeah. So Tina, they have this support group that they go to, and they're talking about the miscarriage, right? And there's a man there who approaches Tina after the group and tells her that when you're at your lowest, you should help people at their lowest, and gives her a card, and it's to volunteer. So she ends up taking him up on that and going to volunteer. And he has all of these different things going on at his organization. It's a nonprofit, and they are on like a lot of different missions. And she says that, well, he assumes that she would want to work in something with the LGBTQ plus community. And she says, actually, I'd like to do something for children, for underprivileged children. And he says, oh, well, here's this man. He's doing this project against this man who is running a plant that is giving a bunch of children cancer. And then she says, well, actually, have you heard of Fae Buckley? And then they go in this deep dive of her. She ends up calling Bette, who's in the middle of a meeting with PR, trying to come up with how they're going to approach this debate against Faye. And it's not going super well, but Bette is like, why are you calling me? I'm in the middle of this meeting. And Bette ends up showing up at this volunteer organization. And she's like, what do you think you guys have that we don't? Like, my guys don't slack off. They're really good. And Tina's like, no, this is what he does. And they end up finding the porn film. So that is how we acquire it. And, Bette really for a while is going back and forth with whether or not to use it, but the man that's in charge of all of this volunteer stuff, he makes this point where he says that all of these guys that do a lot of really terrible things and drag down a lot of people and inflict harm on others, they are not afraid to go into the skeletons in your closets and bring them out and wave them around and make you look like a terrible person, or, pedophiles or creeps or like horrible, horrible people, even if you aren't. And they got a teacher fired for child pornography charges because of a picture of her 3-year-old playing naked on the beach. Like,
right.
Things like that. And he says, we end up suffering and silent and killed and harmed because we take the high road and we are unwilling to go into the closets and drag out their skeletons. And we have all the information, but we don't want to sink down to their level and air them out like they do to us. But where does that get us? And so here's the film. And so Tina ends up pulling out the film after Fae Bette ends up pulling the film out in the debate after Fae just keeps coming at her and at her and at her. And Bette has made every effort to be very civil and reasonable, and then
trying to debate facts.
Exactly.
And Fae just wants to drag Bette's name through the mud, because if you drag Bette's name through the mud, then everything she touches is also going to be persona non grata, you know?
Right. Yeah. And then Fae has a very emotional reaction to seeing the film.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about what Fae actually said to Bette, because so circling back just a tiny bit to the therapy session, one of the guys kind of came at Bette like, actually it was a woman who was like, have you dealt with this yourself? Like, it's nice that you're being like such a good support system to Tina, but have you dealt with this? Have you cried about it? And Bette was like, I don't need to cry, which I very much understand from the perspective of the partner of somebody who's going through a miscarriage, because they have a very different experience as the person who wasn't physically carrying that child. But Bette was like, I don't need to cry, like very much being that strong person. Then at the debate where Bette has the tape, but you can tell she's kind of decided not to use it. But when Fae comes at her, first of all, the invasion of privacy to get the information that she uses against Bette, where she says, she's calling Bette a pornographer. She's saying, God took your unborn child as punishment for your lifestyle. And that makes Bette just sob. And I think she's like, you know what? If you're going to do this to me, I'm going to do this to you. And she hands the tape over and calls. It's almost like, I feel like Fae went over to like grab the tape from Bette to like take it away or something. Cause Fae gets up and goes over to Bette, and Bette like shrugs her hand off and is like monster, like calls her a monster, which she is. And she gives the tape over to the moderator. And then, tell us about Faye's reaction.
Yeah, she just had this look on her face, like she couldn't believe that that film had surfaced, and she she had this like emotion, all of these emotions running through her face, and she didn't voice any of them. She just retaliated verbally at Bette by saying the stuff about the miscarriage to her. And went for the throat, really. But you could see that hurt to see that film come up. And that's probably where all of this started, honestly, if you ask me. Like, why is she so obsessed with pornography? Is because her daughter went into it. But it's really, I don't know why she's so surprised that anybody would find that.
Well, because I think they said that she knew about that tape and paid a ton of money to make it go away. So for her to have it come up is kind of like a breach in NDAs, a breach in all these things that I think she thought her fame and like power could save her from. But now it's here. So it's probably not even more like hurt. It's probably more anger that this is coming out, you know, because I feel like in order to feel hurt, you have to have a soul. And I don't feel like Fae Buckley even has one. Do you agree with Bette's decision to use that video? And I know my answer, but I want to hear what yours is.
This feels complicated to me. Because we take away the involvement of the daughter, who is like an innocent third party here, right?
Yeah.
She was doing what she could to get away from Faye and her husband. Right. And this was what she was doing to survive. And say it was a young Faye in that video. Sure. Bring in the tape with all the things she's saying.
Right.
When it's the daughter and somebody who really has no involvement or choice or control over this entire situation, and she's the one that, when it comes down to it, is really probably going to be hurt by this, if she's out of the porn industry at this point. If she's not out of the porn industry, maybe this helps her and she gets more money. But
well, I think we saw in the clips, we saw those clips of the daughter while the debate was going on. I think that was like current day. I think she's like prostituting on the street. That's how I interpreted that.
Yeah, that feels very complicated for me with the daughter involved. I say if the daughter's not involved, sure, let Fae Buckley face the consequences of her actions. Yeah. I just don't know how that affects the daughter at this point. And I feel like that's, I don't necessarily blame Bette for using it.
Sure. So you keep going. Did you have more?
I also know, that porn tape is already out there. Like, it was published. It's there to be consumed to the public. But, like, you have to go searching for it and know. And she used a fake name. So she didn't really want everyone to know it was her. Yeah.
Again, I'm a black and white thinker, so I'm like a yes or a no on this one. And my answer is no. I don't think that she should have used it. Specifically because of the points that you pointed out of like, this is an innocent third party, blah, blah, blah. But also this is child porn. This is an underage. This is an underage girl.
Yeah, okay.
In this video. Okay. I figured as much.
You know what I mean? She's underage.
Because not only is she an innocent third party, she's a victim in this video, right? Yeah. And like 16-year-olds can't give consent. They just can't. Whether they say yes or no, it doesn't matter. And for it to be I not that I don't fault Bette, because I kind of do. And also remember, this is 2000s. We didn't have like necessarily the same viewpoint as on 16-year-olds that we do now, which I'm glad for. But yeah, to me, I was like, this is like a hard no for me, especially on the rewatch. I probably didn't have as big of an issue with it when I was like 16 myself, watching this movie or watching this video. Oh my God, watching this TV show. Jesus. What was that? But yeah, watching it now, it was like, that's a little girl. Like, yeah, had it been Fae herself in this video, I'd be like, use it, go for it. But the fact that it, again, yeah, it was a 16-year-old girl who has nothing to do with this, it kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What if
she was an adult?
Well, what if they didn't use the tape and just said, like, Fae Buckley's daughter escaped her abusive husband, that Fae didn't step in and went into the porn industry underage?
Because Fae would say, prove it. Like, you know what I mean? She's not going to back down for that. She would say, that's not true. You know, and then back Bette into a corner to like pull out her proof, right? Hoping that she wouldn't, hoping that they wouldn't do that, you know? That's what I think would have happened. Yeah.
Man.
I know, it's icky, huh?
Yeah.
You know, unlike But I'm a Cheerleader, this did not withstand the test of time.
No.
It really didn't.
No.
But it gets better. And I do think in Generation Q, they addressed a lot of these issues, which I really appreciated. Like, there's a trans character that comes in soon. Sorry. There's a trans character that comes into the L Word, the original, and they don't handle it well. And I think they tried to rectify that with the trans character in L Word Generation Q, being like, we're sorry. I think they've even made statements about it, about how, you know, as they look back on certain episodes, how they didn't handle certain topics well, which I really appreciate. As somebody who like kind of grew up with this show and like grew up with this as like their media landmark for like queer representation, is nice to see them be like, we're not ashamed to say that we have learned and that we didn't handle things well, and this is now our evolved take on this subject.
Right. Which I really appreciate that too. I think that's so important, because one thing that really frustrates me about the way that the internet and social media have affected the way that society works is that people or organizations will have a take or make a mistake, and that's it. Like, that's what marks you forever.
Right.
And it's like, well, people learn and evolve constantly. And if you don't give somebody the chance to grow and figure out and understand why something wasn't like the right thing to do,
right,
then they're stuck in that forever, and they aren't allowed to grow into like what you're asking of them.
Right.
And so if you hold them in that standard, then that's all you're ever going to get. And even if they try and grow, like it would be so frustrating to be trying to grow and have everybody keep throwing in your face like, oh, well, you had this take. Right. And holding people accountable is important, and that's one thing, but you still have to allow room for them to take the accountability, right?
Except if you're Corbin Albert. Then I give you no grace whatsoever to grow and learn, because I don't think you can, and I don't think you should be on the team. Okay, go ahead.
That's Lauren's take. I think that she can do it.
After her liking the Megan Rapinoe get hurt.
No,
TikToks?
I think that was a horrible thing for her to do, and
we have Lily Johannes now. We have Hal Hirschfeld now. We don't need her. She's not good. She's not good enough.
I'm not saying
she's
that
homophobic.
we need her, but I'm saying that she should be allowed room to grow, and that I think that we should believe in her to be able to grow. And if
Absolutely
we don't,
not.
she never will.
So you're saying that we have our belief in her is what is going to enable her to change and grow.
No, it's on her.
Because that's not fair to put that on us.
No, it's not. It's on her to do the growing. But what I'm saying for anybody, applicable to anybody, is that if somebody is trying to do the growing and everybody around them doesn't accept the growth.
Sure, but prove it. Show me you're doing it. And they haven't done anything with her. She hasn't come out and said anything. Her statement was like, sorry, I got caught.
Yeah, no. And I think until she does it, I'm not saying that she's done anything.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I think that anybody, and I don't know her, so it's not like I'm making a judgment on who she is as a person or personally. I'm just saying that I think that generally any person, unless there's like something psychologically really wrong with them, can grow and like understand why something was wrong if they try.
I just can't wait for her to figure out that she's gay. So I'm just waiting for that part. And then she can be like, oopsie. Okay, anyway, that's our L Word episode for you guys. And sorry, we segued into some soccer stuff, but I have Jen Lyon on the mind because
You both do.
I know you're going to be hearing this episode after our Unfinished Line episode comes out, but we're recording them in opposite order. So we're about to record that now. And so we're very excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we love you guys. And Haley's like, get to the next episode.
We love you.
Bye, guys.
Happy Christmas. We'll see you next time for, everyone read. We're going to read the Christmas pick.
Yes, everyone start reading. We should put this on our socials so they can start reading now.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that probably in our Unfinished Line recording that we're going to do now. Okay. Bye, guys.